Hello and welcome to the next in our series. Today we're looking at how to use the dotnet CLI in order to very quickly start creating a LogicMonitor console application. So we're going to start by opening Visual Studio Code. And I'm starting in a new folder here, Demo 2. If we have a look in that folder, you can see it is completely empty. And the first thing we're going to do is install the LogicMonitor.cli package, which will enable a new .NET New template. So if we have a look at .NET New -L, this will list the current templates that are available. So if you wanted to create a new console application, for example, you could type .NET New Console, and that would create a new templated console app to get you started. Instead, we're going to be adding a .NET New LogicMonitor to this list. So the first thing to do is to install that template from NuGet. The command for that is .NET New -I LogicMonitor.cli. So this will go to NuGet, fetch the latest version. You can see here that the latest version is 101. And we can see that in our list now we have a new option, LogicMonitor CLI application. And the short name for that is LogicMonitor. So this means we can now very simply do .NET New LogicMonitor. And that will create us a starter application. You can see we have a number of files over here having appeared in the folder. And again, listing the folder shows that these have indeed been created. So let's look at what we have here then. So those of you that are familiar with the ASP.NET template will notice a few similarities here. We're using service collection and dependency injection to do things exactly right on day one. However, don't worry about that too much. All you'll need to know is that there's this new file here called application.cs, and this works very simply. You'll see that we have some required assets to build and debug, so we say yes to those. And we also notice that there are some unresolved dependencies from the CS proj file. Of course, those can be found in here. And you'll see here all of the standard Microsoft extension packages for logging, configuration, dependency injection, etc. And of course, a recent version of the LogicMonitor API. So we need to restore those packages. And on doing so, you'll notice that on the left-hand side here, the various files will go back to a happy white color. And indeed, editing those files, you'll see that all of the red squiggles have gone. So then it's a simple matter of building this as we normally would with .NET Build. And we can see that the build succeeds, which it does for the default template, and run it. You'll notice that we have an exception being thrown here. Immediately we have a no such device or address. We cannot connect to the specific LogicMonitor API. This is because in the app settings.json file, we have some credentials which are being loaded, and you should modify those to match your credentials. I'll show you how to achieve that. Type in the name of your portal here. Put in your access ID here, which you can find by creating one in your... Put in your access ID here. Create one if you need to, using the LogicMonitor UI. Don't forget to save, and save the user as well. and if you rebuild it, the program should now run. Let's have a look at some of the features of the output then. Firstly, you'll notice that we're using the standard Microsoft logging framework. We have an application start message here. We have a statement about the number of devices in the portal, and we have some information with a warning tag against the down collectors. Let's have a look at how that's achieved in the application. Looking at application CS then, we'll see that we have a constructor. We're using dependency injection to insert the configuration and the logger. We're storing the configuration in _config, and from here we're creating a LogicMonitor portal client as we were before. We're also recording the logger for use further down. Going back to Program CS, you'll notice that we get an application here, and we run it using asynchronous await run for application.run. So looking at the run method then, this is where you will put your code. Let's look through the run method. Line 62, 63, we're just logging out using the logger. Lines 65 through 67, we are doing a portal client get async on the account settings. And we're printing some of that information out with log information. Portal client account name has the device count, number of devices, using string interpolation. We then get a list of all of the collectors, and you'll notice here that we have a filter applied. From this version onwards, you can construct a number of filter items, including equality, inequality, contains, etc. attributes. So you can see in this case, we are stating that the collector is down property is true. We could add some more, for example, a new greater than operator, where the collector's ID is greater than 5. And you can create as many of these as you like. From the result then, we are getting this list of collectors that matches those criteria. And if we have no down collectors, we write that information out. And if we do have collectors, we note which ones are down. And that's it. You can put your own code in here, and it's very easy to get up and running. Every time you want to do a short new LogicMonitor script, just use dotnet new LogicMonitor, and this will be put in place for you. All you need to do is update the credentials file and continue working. Let's also look at a feature of the configuration itself. So we have constructed for you a configuration class that contains the LogicMonitor credentials, but we've also provided you with a first setting. So let's say you wanted to create a customer name here. And you wanted to put that in your app settings.json. We can now print that information out here on line 63 with config.customer_name. Let's also modify this line here Remember to save all the files and then rebuild and run with .NET Run. We can see that this is output as we'd expect. This means that you can provide your own app settings, put any number of configuration items you like in this input file, and just use .NET Run to run the application. All you need to do is update the appsettings.json and update the configuration class itself. I hope this template is useful in creating your own LogicMonitor applications. Look forward to seeing you next time.